imágenes de lo que pasó hoy en Paseo de la Reforma hace escasos minutos, cuando un grupo de los autodenominados anarquistas quemaron un árbol navideño de Coca-Cola que se instaló ahí en Paseo de la Reforma e Insurgentes. Este grupo se infiltró a la marcha de organizaciones ciudadanas que protestaban por el alza en la tarifa del metro. Cuando estos jóvenes, que como usted sabe se caracterizan por ir embosados, por no mostrar su rostro, intentaron robar una de las esferas de este árbol de Navidad, algunos de los manifestantes les reclamaron. Por otros integrantes embosados decidieron aventar una bomba molotov al árbol de Navidad, que se incendió prácticamente en su totalidad. Nosotros vemos que la parte va hasta aventar una bomba molotov con evitar propaganda. Vamos a ver qué fue lo que pasó hace unos momentos en Paseo de la Reforma.
Clap it up, man. Give that a hand, give that a hand, Salakia. I'm not condoning, like I said, I'll start with the disclaimer, right? I'm not condoning anybody go out and do that, but that is a beautiful sight in my eyes to see that wicked Christmas tree go up in flames, man. Salakia, God damn right. Once again, another night, Monday night, right? We got our show, La Pura Neta. This is what we call La Raza Power Hour. You know what I mean? And I'm right here with my mighty man, Trooper Natazayav. Lord allow we get more carnales up in here. But want to say Shalom, Israel, Jubile Raza. We here to, as we say, man, we're the ISUPK, start out of 1 West 125th Street under commanding Jonah Yahana. And we're here to let you know, Raza, that we are your voice, man. We out here for y'all, man. And we're back here another night to bring out, you know what I mean, to speak on Raza issues, Raza topics, you know what I mean? Because, of course, when everybody hears Hebrew Israelite, right, or everybody assumes that derogatory term, Black Hebrew Israelite, but nobody ever considers that there's two other groups up in there, man, which is you got the so-called Hispanics and the so-called Native Americans, right? And, of course, I don't like the term Hispanic or Latino. I'm sure you don't like that term either, you know what I mean? Those are bywords and colonizer terms put on us. But of course, man, you know what I mean? We go buy them. We use them today to reach our people that don't know who they are, of course, because we've been stripped of our identity in this place. We know we don't come from Spain. We know we're not Italian. We know we're not Portuguese, whatever you want to call it. We know we're not some goddamn Europeans who came over here and stole the land from our people. We Raza, man. We're so-called Mexicans. We're indigenous people of this land. And we're God's chosen people. We're the true Jews of the Bible, Raza. I know a lot of that. I know that hits heavy to a lot of y'all out there, man. You know what I mean? But it's the truth, man. And if you don't want to believe me, man, just look around you, man. Look at the condition that's going on in your barrio, man. All the issues that plague the Raza. You ever ask yourself why that's happening? Well, we got the answers here today, Raza. We got the answer. We could tell you exactly why that's happening. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm right here once again with Trooper Natazayav. If you could, real quick, I want to ask you something, man. So what's going down in your side of town, carnal? If you can fill me in a little bit. Where you from, Kanan?
Comic-Con, sir, Chicago.
Orale. So we got Chirac in the house, man.
Chirac, aka Chirac, sir. Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we get that negative title. But
Right.
it seems like our people are living up to the title, sir.
Right.
It's a lot of desperation in these streets, and man, it really seems like the tribes are going a little bit harder around these so-called holidays. Being desperate, and they're willing to hurt anybody to get their fix. To get whatever they're looking for in these streets. Whether it be money, drugs, or all of the above.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like they're living up to that title, sir.
No sweat, so that's in the curses. It's in the Bible, man, in Deuteronomy, the 20th chapter, right? I'm gonna paraphrase it, of course, because I got my head covered. I don't want to say too much, but man, but of course, it talks about for the man that is tender amongst you, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, man. Like that's heavy. You say that, Ak, because we as a raza, man, we are at each other's throats all the time, man. We find a way to put each other down, man. You know what I mean? They say that like the enemy of another brown man is the enemy of a brown man is another brown man. You know what I mean? And it's true, man. Raza's always putting each other down, man. We kill each other over over street names, over what is it? Colors, cities, territories that we don't even own, that this oppressor can come in and take from us. You know what I mean? We're
Salak,
always at each other's throat. Go ahead,
if I may, it seems like it's a lot more simpler on a daily basis. Even than that, it seems like we're at each other's necks for simple disrespect.
Right.
You bump into a guy, you have some words with a guy, and it seems like the younger they are, the more quicker they are to get off the, to jump at you, and to show you like, hey, I'm not going to be disrespected, and that's definitely a result of the oppression that we're in, and having that mindset, of being so desperate. We're already at the bottom, right, of the classes. At least that's what they want us to believe. And when you got someone that's looking like you, treating you the same way, it's a lot easier for you to jump off the handle. Just recently, within this last week, there was a shooting at a Latino high school called Juarez in Chicago. And I actually had a grammar school friend. I believe it was her son who was a victim. So it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And from the pictures and everything that they're promoting online, the news, it does look like it was another Hispanic brother who was the suspect.
Salak, yeah. Give me 1 second. Shalom, I don't want. We're doing the show, sir. Yeah, we're already on it. If you wanna, I got the link in the group chat, sir. If you wanna hop on. Come on, I got it running whenever you wanna hop on. All right, come on, sir. Salak, yeah, we got Mighty Priest and Officer 5K about to hop on in here, man. Kazak, yeah, about to be up in here, man. Most High in Christ. Yeah, we don't know. Give it a few minutes, man. Come up in here. But yeah, you were saying Salakia.
Yeah, like I was saying, sir, like I said, it's definitely a lot of it going on. Like you said, it's the curses that we're living in, and our people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, they don't fit we fit the curses. No one else fits the curses like us. So
Right.
what you're seeing in every day, that's because we turned away from the Most High, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that. That's what this show's about, for us to open your eyes and enlighten you about what's really affecting us. As much as we try to keep winning and winning, and the understanding is to have your kids and hope they do better than you, and you wonder why they're going through the same things, if not worse, than what you're going through, and it's because of these curses.
Right. So, like, we got on the scene, man. As I said, man, we got Mighty Priest and Officer of 5K, Kazak Yad, man. Give him a
Hey,
hand.
Shalom, Lord
Hey,
Christ.
Shalom,
Shalom, in
Shalom,
Christ.
Adawan, Lord in Christ.
All right, all
Salaki,
right.
sir. Go ahead, Adawan.
Go ahead. Continue. No
I was
sweat.
saying, so I was gonna say real quick. I titled the show tonight, man, called it La Raza Power Hour. You know what I mean? Which is,
Oh,
this is a show to empower the raza. So we want to, we want to speak on some things. We want to engage in carnalismo and brotherhood amongst each other and demonstrate it. You know what I mean? And just talk about things that affect the raza, sir. So if anything you want to drop, man, I don't want you always drop that heavy knowledge. I don't want.
Khan. Well, I mean, I just jumped on, but the water for the show and for everybody tuning in. As always, we are the ISUPK coming out of 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, and we're the portion of the ISUPK that represents los Latinos, la raza. You know what I'm saying? And we're right alongside with our Judite and all the other tribes. You know what I'm saying? And the idea is for us to be able to empower us, just the way my boy Malakma, Malakma's talking about. The idea is to empower our people. And what better way to empower our people than to bring black and brown together? We know that in the world, when we're together, man, we are a power that's unmatched to anything else once we get together. And the idea now is to come together under Christ, that we might uphold and make this power even more. You know what I mean? Than what it is. So, like, let me get my phone running out. And, empower it even more. And of course, man, it's not an easy task because, one of the things that we learned is that La Raza, man, they really, really hung up on Christianity and being Catholics. You know what I'm saying? And it's a tough drug, man. It's a tough drug to get off of. And what we're going to try to do is spread some knowledge and some history for our Raza can understand that Christianity and the Catholicism, then that's not our culture. I was preparing for a show. I didn't realize you guys had a show going on, and I was about to start the show up, but I had named it. I was naming the show today, Los Días Festivos de México son días de los españoles, which means the days of festivals that we celebrate in Mexico are really Spaniard traditions. And the reason why I wanted to go into it today is because if you don't know, last week, Mexicans celebrated Dia of Guadalupe or Guadalupana, the Dia of Guadalupe. That's the day that's celebrated last week. And let me tell you something, man, this is a hardcore day. Just the way Halloween is to everybody here in America, the Day of Guadalupe is to everybody in Mexico and Latin America. Even here, the Chicano people, they celebrate the Dia de Guadalupe. This is the day they honor Guadalupe. And the problem is that they don't realize who this Guadalupe is or what this image is about or what any of this is about. But yet they celebrate it in ignorance with their eyes closed. They honor this Guadalupe, and it's something that should be talked about. And you know what? We need to re-educate our people and bring them closer to their true heritage and their true culture, instead of celebrating the cultures of the Spaniards. And I know my Judite brothers, man, they don't celebrate these things because they're brought up in America, but we're brought up in Latin America. No matter where you're from, Natazia, where are you from? Salagi.
Salaki, sir. I'm from Chicago, but my grandfather, he's from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Oh, Khan. Okay. So you man, your grandfather was revolutionist from Chihuahua, was Pancho Villa, straight from Pancho Villa, straight from that region. But even then, you seen one of the things about Pancho, and that's interesting, man, that you tell me that, because one of the things that Chihuahua and Mexicali and Zacatecas, one of the things they're really famous for was Los Cristeros. Have you ever heard of that?
La, sir.
Los Cristeros was a revolution against the Christian church in Mexico, because the Christian church was taking money and the Catholic church was taking money. Well, Catholics and Christians, same thing out there. But they were taking all the money, all the funds, all the diezmo, the 10%, all the money that churches were raising. They were taking it back to Spain, and none of it stayed in Mexico. And so what they were doing is they were rising up against the Christian and Catholic churches to separate from the Spaniard Catholic Church. And man, if you go into that history, you realize what they were doing is they were murdering, right, priests and pastors. Because this was heavy time. They were murdering priests and pastors out there because of this. So Salagi, let me try to get my phone to click forward. I can't get it to go view the wide way, but I'm gonna try. But yeah, this is something interesting, and the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people don't know that. Let me see, Salakia. A lot of people don't know that history, but once you start to realize that history, it starts breaking down to what your heritage really is, and what your people are really about. The reason why they don't teach cristeros or any of that in the schools is because our schools are educated in Catholic and Christian politics. And so we don't really hear, the whole truth of all this, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to let you guys continue. Go right ahead. Any comments or anything, go right ahead and get in on that talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I may, sir, what you're bringing out is so heavy and powerful. It definitely makes me feel like I'm following my tradition of my forefathers, because that's what we're doing right now in the ISUPK. Like Officer Malakma said, we don't condone any violence. We're not telling you to go out there and kill no priests. We're going to let the Most High do that, Yahweh shot, when he comes and returns, and he's going to be the one handling that for us. Right now, we're going to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and that's how we're going to battle these devils.
Damn right.
Absolutely. You're right about that. Go ahead,
I could, I don't mind what you dropping is heavy, sir, because the Spaniards came in and basically enforced their culture and their holidays in us. What are we celebrating right now? I don't mind. We just had the opening, the Feast of Dedication, and the history of that, was how the Romans came into Jerusalem and try to force their culture on the Israelites during that time. You know what I mean? With the Maccabeus brothers in them, and how they went into the temple and sacrificed the swine on the altar, which just shows, how this oppressor just comes and enforces his culture, his lifestyle on us, man. And that's what's going on today. Raza, you didn't want to believe that you was an Israelite. All you got to do is just look at history. Look at what we suffered at the hands of these oppressors, and that's how you know that we are the chosen people, because this is not happening to any other group of people, man. I don't know about any other group of people that's been stripped of their identity and their culture, man. But you, Raza, that has happened to you. So you go ahead. I don't want anything else you want to drop on.
Oh no. You could continue. You're doing a good job already. I'm just trying to set my phone up. But go ahead.
Most High in Christ. So yeah, kind of that's another thing I want to add, because Christmas, I know a lot of you cats out there, man. That, like I said, I'm gonna bring this out every show. I'm gonna have to mention it every show. I don't want how a lot of these brothers and sisters like to come at us, man, about because we study the Bible and we talk about being an Israelite. That that's the colonizer's book and the colonizer's ways. How many of y'all right now who be talking about decolonization? How many of y'all are going to celebrate Christmas? How many of y'all got a Christmas tree in your living room?
That's right.
Talk about, the ways of the ancestors, but you got Christmas presents under that tree, man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I bet not one of you is giving up Christmas. And tell me, is Christmas indigenous? That's indigenous culture? What's that called? Right. What's they call other one? The Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe?
Dia de la Virgen de Guadalupe, Khan.
You gonna try and flip it around and say it's really El Dia de Tonatzin?
Right.
That's been debunked. Like it's been brought out by Officer Kazakiat how that's not Tonatzin is not La Virgen de Guadalupe. You know what I mean? Or Salakiat, did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you something. I'm gonna go a little deeper because a lot of our raza, la raza mexicana, nuestra cultura, our gente. The first thing what's spread right now like a wildfire the ideology that we're Mexicas. You know, that's the ideology. Like everybody you run into, they're like Mexica, I'm Mexica, I'm Mexica, and it's a powerful thing, that Mexica ideology, because everybody wants to be, their culture wants to be Aztec. You know, the long hair. You know, nothing wrong with that. The Aztec dances and all this, and everybody's claiming to be Mexica. This is a strong, how could I say, man, this is a strong thing on top of us. But, you know, if you really want to break it down, you know, like my brother Nataziab just answered when I asked him, you know, where are you from? And he says, well, I'm from, you know, where'd you tell me you were from? Where'd you say you were from?
Slocky. I'm from Chicago. My grandfather's from Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. So let me tell you something. This is what happens, and Nataziab, you know, nothing towards you, but this is pretty much for everybody. This is the same. Like, I'm from Baja California. I'm from Tijuana, but my father is from Jalisco, right? Right. Yeah. So I can't claim to be from Tijuana. I might have been born there, but my bloodline comes from Jalisco. So when people ask me where you're from, I always answer, I'm from Jalisco, because I'm representing the bloodline of my ancestors. That's why I say I'm from Jalisco. Then they'll tell me, oh yeah, you were born there. No, I wasn't born there. I'm born in Tijuana, but my father brought me, and he had me there. That doesn't diminish where he's from. I'm still from Jalisco. And then I go further, because I'm doing this study right now of cities that were built by the Spaniards, and towns that were built by the indigenous people. So my father originally is from a place called Tesistan. Tesistan is an indigenous name. Tesistan comes from the established town of indigenous people, or the Purupeches, or whoever it may be, the indigenous people. We're breaking down heavy genealogy, because that's what we do. We're in the ISUPK. We break down genealogy. If I keep going further and further down the line, I'm Issachar. How do I know that? Because my genealogy comes from the people, or my people are Issacharites, right? I'm going way back. But let me bring you even closer to our time. I'm from Tesistan, from a town in the outskirts of Guadalajara. Guadalajara is a town built by the Spaniards. Tesistan is a ground of indigenous people where they found refuge during the war against Spain. They found refuge there. So what am I? My bloodline is man, my bloodline is straight Mexican indigenous. And I not only went to my dad, I went to my grandfather. And from my grandfather, I went to my great-grandfather. That's how I found out that we're from Tesistan. Not from my father, because my pops never told me we're from Tesistan. It was one of my aunts, which is older than him, that advised me of where we came from. So I always thought we're from Zapopan. But then as I started asking, family members, it went down to, oh, you guys are from this region. So what I do, I looked up that region, and then I get closer and closer to where I am and where I come from. Then I see pictures of my family, and I realize, well, we ain't these people here. So even today, we find out who's who by digging into our roots. And why do we dig into our roots? Let me tell you something. Malagma will tell you, man, I know a lot about the history of my people, because, of course, during my high school years, I was always into the Mecha clubs, the Chicano study clubs, and always thought, oh, I'm Chicano, I'm Mexican American. Most High in Christ for the ISUPK that helped me break down the true reality of where I come from and where my roots are from. Right? So I don't claim Tijuana, I don't claim California, I don't claim LA. A lot of people, oh, I'm from LA. I can't claim that, because I'm in an area, I'm in a reality, the ISUPK, where it teaches us to check who we are and where we come from. And from there, to become proud of who we are. Well, I'm an Issacharite. I'm proud to be Issachar, proud to be Mexican. And so let me go into the Mexicas. The Mexica is everybody wants to be Mexica. But then when you ask them, hey, brother, where's your dad from? oh, well, my dad is from,
Right.
Zacatecas, or so how you
Right.
Mexica when your dad is not even from Mexico City, because the Mexica established their roots in Mexico City. So how are you Mexica? And then they get into a place where they can't really answer that. They will talk about, oh no, well, we got to be proud to be Mexicans. Well, yeah, you got to be proud to be Mexican, but how does that pride land into being Mexica of a tribe that was kind of like a little bit, how could I say, off? Because you know why we worship gods, and the Aztecs worship all these gods, the snake, and all, because of the Mexica. The Mexica bring the worship of the gods of different entities to Latin America. If you begin to research and go back into the stories of the conquistadores like Bartolomé de las Casas and Cortez and them, they'll tell you in their books, they wrote in their books that these people, talking about the indigenous people, had to be descendants of the Israelites because they keep the customs that the Israelites kept. So they see this in a lot of history books. The problem with us Hispanic people is that we're not learning to look at these history books. We're looking at what the common person talks about, and we're
Right.
losing what's important, and that is history that's out there that tells us exactly who we are. And the same conquistadores, the same Spaniard that came to destroy us, he wrote in his records that our people celebrated the high holy days that were once celebrated in Israel. That's how we know we them Issacharites. That's how we know we're Zebulon. That's how we know we're you name it, right? That's how we know we're these people. Down to the Incas, down to the Peruvians, the Venezuelans, these people, they did the same thing as we did. They had the belief of one single God, monolistic beliefs, which is a single God, a creator that gave birth to everything. Mexica came in and they started worshiping this and worshiping that, and they turned regular men like Quetzalcoatl into a snake and then into a god. And Quetzalcoatl was just a man. Kukulkan was just a man. He was a man who led the people, And now we see it because of Spaniard history, because of false history. Now we see these as the gods that we want worship. And when we talk about our people, the Toltecs, the Mayans, and these, then we think, oh, they were worshiping idols. Well, not all of them worshiped idols. Not throughout the history, not throughout the whole history. They didn't start worshiping idols to the Mexica and some of these tribes that were more superstitious. And even that, remember, the superstitions that the indigenous people of Mexico and Latin America had were the same superstitions that we brought with us from Egypt, from Babylon, from Assyria. During our captivities, a lot of these people bring those traditions with them. That's how you know we're Israelites, because we not only bring back our Israelite customs, but we also bring back our superstitions and pagan traditions that once existed in Europe. You know what I'm saying? Salakia, go ahead.
Khan, if I may, sir, it's so heavy that what you're bringing out, in the sense that how we're so quick to, especially La Raza, we're so quick to say we have pride in our family and our heritage. But, when we get into these new lands, like when we come to America, everyone seems to forget where they come from. They start celebrating Christmas and getting a tree and everything else. And then they're not keeping up with the customs that their forefathers kept up with. We're not keeping up with the customs that before we were colonized. So it's crazy how we say, we have so much pride in our family and everything like that, but then we come over here and we break our backs to try to build some type of power and rank in this society when we ain't being respected. We're not respecting ourselves, and we're willing to cross out our own people. And you get to the third and fourth generation American citizens that are Mexicans who start to side with Trump and stuff like that, and say close the border. hey man, if that border wasn't open, you wouldn't have had the opportunity that you had. You know, you got over here, however you got over here, and you know, you got to give that chance to everybody else.
Gone, absolutely, absolutely. Malagma, you got something to throw in?
Salagi, that's heavy, Arwan. You know what I mean? It's just we our issue, right, as a people, is that we don't know who we are, man. Like, you know what I mean? We go by the bywords that's been given to us. How much of our people believe we come from Spain? We want to claim we're part Spaniard and you know that we're really white and all that nonsense. But you go around some Edomites, you go around some white people, they don't accept you as their own, man. And then you know what you said about, you know what I mean? Then what you said about the, you know, everybody claiming Mexica. Mexica was one tribe. There's multiple indigenous tribes throughout Mexico. I mean, you know what I mean? And especially, you know, like what you said about coming from the F. I mean, my family comes from Jalisco. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no way you could, you know, can't be Chica. You know, but it's crazy because we do. A lot of people love to claim that because we go by what's been how do you say it? Our people love fantasy. Our people do not love reality, man. They love fantasy. They love, you know, what is it? Rituals and being mysticism, whatever you want to call it, instead of being down to earth. You know what I mean? And I understand, you know what I mean? Like when you're facing oppression every day, when you live in hell every day, you would want to run away from reality. You know what I mean? When you know. But yeah, I don't want that's what I wanted to say, more or less. You know what I mean?
And what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of, you know, I got some old studies that I have, and right now that we're talking about the traditions and the superstitions that our people have, I just want to go into showing a little bit of the superstitions. I have one. I know Malakma has seen it before. I don't know if the brother Natazayab has seen it, but I'm gonna go ahead and put me on the full screen real quick.
Sir.
Let me see if I can turn my camera around real quick. Oh, Salakia. Give me 1 second. Let me see.
Looks like Kazakia removes himself. We'll wait till he hops back in. So let me add you back to the stream. We gotta wait for Kazakia to come back. I think he ended the stream. No sweat, man. So meanwhile, I mean, you know, Officer Kazakia is always dropping. Okay, we got him back.
Got lost for a second, but let me see if I can turn my camera around real quick. Okay, you got me there. All right, no sweat. So let me I can turn my phone around like that. I'm pretty sure you can see this, right? Right? You seeing this here? Malagma?
Yeah, I see it. I don't want. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Khan. So what you're looking at here is, of course, when I said the superstitions, so you can see here, this is Anubis. Anubis was depicted as a guiding dog. You know, as you know, I've always mentioned this. You know, as you can see, this is the Egyptian dog, Anubis. You know what I mean? This dog was used by the kings to go into the afterworld. This was the purpose of this dog. That's what they used him for, to go into the afterworld. Imagine we were slaves and we understood what this dog represented when we were slaves. This dog represented in the kingdom of the Egyptians an important part to their superstitions of going into the afterworld, right? And then we come to Mexico, and then we have this dog known as Cholosinquintli. You see that?
Right.
That's Cholosinquintli. And it just so happens that the Aztecs used this same dog for the same purpose. This dog was used by the kings in the Mexica kingdom to take the kings into the afterworld. And look what a coincidence! Look at the way this is a Aztec. This is a relic found in the pyramids. This one here,
right?
And look how closely it resembles the Egyptian one,
right?
You see that? And then you even have the dog right here. This is a real statue of the Cholosinquintli found inside of a pyramid. And look how closely it resembles the dog that was once in Egypt. Pretty sure you can see that, right? So like I couldn't get my phone to turn on. I wish I had a better way of doing it. But this is what I'm talking about when I tell you about the traditions that were brought back from our people, and how you know that we were once slaves in Egypt, because even their traditions are brought back with them. For the Mayans, right? There's a word that we know in the Bible known as Baal, correct? Baal. Right. Baal is that's a Hebrew word. Baal is in Hebrew, right?
Right.
And it's found in the Old Testament. If you go into the Mayan Quiche language, their original Mayan language, Quiche, you find the word Baal, which means feline or cat. That's what the word Baal means in Mayan. If you look for the word Baal in Mayan, it means cat. It means feline. And we know that word Baal because the Mayans used the word Baal to represent an animal that was like a monster, a vicious animal, something, aggressive, something really, really bad. And that's why they call the cats not any cat. They're talking about not regular cat, not but I'm talking about the panthers, the jaguars. Jaguar is Baal in the Mayan. And if you look it up, you'll see that in the Bible, there was the god Baal, but he was a vicious god too. They would sacrifice babies to Baal in the Bible, in the Old Testament. And that's how you know, not only did they bring the language with them, but they bring superstitions with them. And then let's go into the food, right? Because you know that a lot of the food that we eat in Mexico, the traditional, what is that? The unleavened bread, la tortilla, right? What is it? El elote, the corn. How many times do you see corn in the Bible? Like corn is like one of the, man, I think corn is in the Bible, I don't know, maybe like 300 times. You know what I'm saying? And I believe, right? I think it's like that. It's almost like 300 times you can find it in the Bible. That's how important corn was, right? In the Bible, it's a symbol of I guess what could I say? Man, I don't know. Food that the Lord gave us. And if you understand in the Latin American culture, man, there's stories by a lot of the indigenous people that we were born from the corn. You know what I'm saying? That we're children of the corn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how it. And then, have you ever heard of parched corn? Parched corn is corn nuts. You know how you eat the corn nuts?
Oh, right.
That's what parched corn is. And the Aztecs and the Mayans, they used to use parched corn even as trade, even as money. They knew how to make parched corn. And you can find parched corn in the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can look at the word parched corn and it's in the Bible as parched corn. You know what I mean? That's how you know that we brought traditions, food, culture, everything came from our ancestors, which were the Israelites. And that's how you know that's how you know we're these people. You know what I mean? That's how you know that's who we are. Salakia, go ahead.
Nah, Salakia, I don't want if I could try to the Lord Allah Raza tunes in and checks us out, you know what I mean? And whether they agree or disagree, you know what I mean? They can hear us out, and if they want to give us input, then by all means, you know what I mean? But it's heavy that you dropped that about the corn. I don't want how many times you said it was mentioned in the Bible, sir?
Oh man. I'm gonna yeah. I'm gonna break it down to try to tell you the exact number of times. I believe I said 200, but I'm gonna for sure say 100 times. I'll say 100 times to be assured of it, but more than that. But It's over 100 times that you find corn in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Over 100 times you'll find it in the Bible.
So like, I don't want. Looks like we got the carnal right here. You know what I mean? Mighty priest and officer Yashikar by Yashikar. You right there, carnal Yashikar.
Órale, carnales, Yabashasha Barkatam. Most High in Christ, carnal. Absekezakia is on fire. Como siempre, todo lo que trae es lumbre. Absekezakia, he's the one, carnal. Simon, Most High in Christ, let's get it.
Go ahead, Malagma, you were saying?
No, I'm saying that, yeah, it's heavy because you said the corn, right? Like is our thing where our people came from the corn, right? That was one of the Aztec legends, I guess you want to say. How we say it?
Aztec legend is that we come from the corn.
So that's heavy because corn is a high, you know what I mean? It's something like that we're dependent on it in Mexico, right? Like it takes me back to what I learned about, in my history of the class was called History of Latin American Movements, and the whole incident in Chiapas with the corn, you know what I mean? And how America, right, implemented NAFTA, which was taking that away from the indigenous people right there, you know what I mean? And it shows, right, how this oppressor, you know what I mean, will take the very little you have, that you need to live.
Ooh, you're breaking up.
So like, can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm still hearing you.
It's like the very little we have, this oppressor wants to take from us. You know what I mean? Like what the scriptures say, paraphrasing, that even a thief knows some about a thief and a dog, right? Like they know when they're full and when they've taken enough, but this oppressor does not know. You know what I mean? Like he'll take the man. He'd take the air from you if he could. Salaki. But yeah,
let me tell you something. I was gonna go into the corn, right? Because it's a food that represents our people, and I believe it's a strong connection to our ancestors. When it comes to what is it, to the Hebrew Israelites, our origin, right? And the way I could connect it real close is that in Mesoamerica, right, which is of course our ancestors in Mexico. Mesoamerica is what it was called before it was called Mexico, or Latin America or Central America. It was called Mesoamerica is the name they give it to it. And maize, which is known as corn, maize was what sustained all of Mexico and Latin America. In other words, our ancestors in Latin America, or what is, I'll keep going Latin America, but in all Mexico, they survived because of maize. It was the food that kept this whole civilization alive over everything, because there was chocolate, you know what I'm saying? There was all kinds of food, but the corn was the one thing that the indigenous people of Latin America counted on the most over all foods. And it's so important that even today, if you go into the peninsula of Yucatan, the Oaxacan people, they still have the original corn. Their corn is still black corn, blue corn, green corn, yellow corn, orange corn. They have variety of corn in all colors, and they have been fighting to maintain the strain of corn from their ancestors. In other words, they bring that corn to the Americas. That's why it's so important to them. And let me tell you, if you go into the Bible history, you have to remember that, was it not Joseph, right? And his brothers had sold him, right? This is right. If you got that Genesis 41, I believe it is, Genesis 41 and 56. If you go into the story of Genesis, you realize that the brothers, Judah and all the brothers, what they did was sell. Hey, shalom, ayar, y'all, ba shimi shabrakata. We're going into corn, para que te dé hambre, mi compa, y comas tortillas de maíz.
That's right.
Hey, so when you see with Joseph, what happened with Joseph is you see that their brothers sold Joseph to the Egyptians. Is that right? Am I hope I'm on point here? But they sold Joseph to the Egyptians, right? They sold Joseph to the Egyptians, and he sells them to the Egyptians because, you know, they were jealous of Joseph because obviously Jacob loved Joseph more than all his brothers, and it was Judah and some of the other brothers who decided, hey, well, you know what, let's get rid of Joseph. And what they do, they sold him, right? And then they said, well, he died. But it turns out that Joseph ends up being taken to Egypt, and there he's given wisdom. And there he becomes, what does he become? Like a servant of Pharaoh. But the Pharaoh knows how important Joseph is. Most High in Christ, the Lord gave him that, right? The Lord gave him that. And so if in that story, Joseph runs, in the time of Joseph, there was a famine that spread. It says in the Bible, it says it spread the whole face of the earth, right? So you can imagine there's a famine that spread out through the whole world, at least the known world at that time. So of course, you know, what is that area? The known world at that point. So, but what happens is that Joseph was wise, and what he did was he began to stock up. And what did he stock up on? He began to stock up on corn. That was his thing. He began to put away corn and put corn away so that by the time that that famine hit, man, what was it called? His storehouses, or the Egyptian Salakia, the Egyptian storehouses were full of corn.
Right.
Were full of maize. You know what I'm saying? Full of maize. And in return, when his brothers and his father went out into the land, because the famine was so bad that even where they were at, it had damaged that area too. It had reached them. So they went to Egypt to find refuge, or, you know, to find help, or whatever it was. I'm not reading the, you know, I'm not looking at the story, but they went out, and what did they find? They found that Joseph had you know, gathered corn, and with that, Joseph was able to give corn to his father and his brothers, you know, for that they could survive the famine. And what got them out of the famine? Well, of course, the Most High got them out of the famine, but the Most High put corn into his stock houses so that they might be able to survive. Imagine that. We're seeing that, and then you're thinking about, you know, we're piecing it together with corn, and the whole land was able, or all these people, you know, whatever it was, were able to survive. I'm pretty sure they had a lot of different foods, but corn is the one that's mentioned in the Bible. Do you have that? Do you have that? Did anybody get that?
Khan.
So if you got that and you read a little bit, let's try to get a little bit of it, just so we can go into where it talks about. I want you know, if brothers hear this, I want them to hear where it is that I'm talking about, where it speaks about a corn in the Bible, and how it was a food that you know, that was important. You know what I mean?
Salaki, did you want the part where Joseph was gathering it, or did you want to go a little bit further where his brothers came in to buy the corn?
You can go where it says when the famine was spread over the face of the earth.
Khan. The book of Genesis 41 and 35. And let them gather all the food for those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities.
And then go down to 41:49.
Khan. Verse 49. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much, until left until he left numbering, for it was without number.
Imagine that. And remember, in the Aztec kingdom, everybody in our kingdom in Latin America, everybody counted on corn. That was the main source of food. Go down to 4156. That was the main source of food for the indigenous Mesoamerica. Go ahead.
Khan. It's like Genesis chapter 41. It's like you said 56.
Yeah.
Verse 56. And the famine was over all the face of the earth. And Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt.
So as you can see, this was a serious famine, right? And is that Genesis 41:56?
56. If you want me to continue, Adawan,
go ahead.
Yeah. Verse 57. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn.
Right.
Because that the famine was so sore in all the lands.
Right. And so, you can go down to 42:1, right? You keep going. But as you keep going into this story, this corn continues to appear. Go into 42:1.
Khan. The book of Genesis, chapter 42, verse 1. Now when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, verse 2, and he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die.
Okay, no sweat. The brother broke up a little bit. No sweat. But we get the point, right? We see how important corn was. Can you hear me? Am I good?
Khan, you good?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Carnal. Go ahead, IR.
All right.
Khan, we're good. Can you hear me?
Khan.
Okay, Khan. So let's just to make the point, as you continue to read this, you begin to see how important corn was as a food source to Egypt, right, and to all of our ancestors, even the Israelites, right, even the Jacob and all them, how it sustained them. How to them it was like, oh man, here is corn. And now imagine you come into Mexico, right? You come into you come into Latin America, and you find the same thing of how important corn was to our people. So important that they grew it everywhere. So important that they were like, oh, the corn is our God. They began to look at it in different manners. They honored corn because of its worth and its value. And imagine, man, not only did they bring traditions, and not only did they bring superstitions and other things from our ancestors, but I'm gonna go even to say, and I'm gonna get into this, that they brought corn during their voyage into Azareth, right? And this is how I know. This is how I'm going to tell you that they brought the corn with them, because the Spaniard, when they came to America, they bring the swine with them. They bring swine with them. They bring what the Spaniard eats is called puerco salado, salted pork or salted pig. The reason why they bring salted pig is because the pig is the only animal that could travel a year and a half and make it all the way across, and they could eat it. Because the pig, go ahead.
If I could, one of the reasons why the pig lives so long, because pigs eat everything. So with the conquistadors, they end up killing another pig to feed the rest of the pigs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and corn is very important and still is. I mean, Mexicans, we use corn for everything. I mean, we use tortilla to eat our pizza with corn. You know what I mean? Like the corn is very, very important. And it's crazy that you mentioned that, other one, because the location of the corn specifically was in Mexico.
Right.
From Mexico, it spread onto North America.
Right.
So that's a fact what you're saying, other one.
Khan, absolutely. And yes, Ayara is correct. You know, not only did they feed other pigs to the pigs, but people that died, they fed to the pigs. So these are some of the things, because a pig will eat a human. The pig will eat the bone, the eyes, the teeth. The pig eats everything. Like the pig will leave nothing behind. It'll eat the whole goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's where pig comes. Pig comes from Europe. It actually, one of the regions, if you look this up now, don't take it from me, look this up. There is a region in Spain called Extremadura. Extremadura was known to be a region where pigs were bred. That was one of their main businesses, import, export, whatever you want to call it. Their main sustain of what it was. And let me tell you something. Extremadura, right, just so happens to be the city where all the conquistadores came from. If you look at Hernán Cortés, if you go into Wikipedia and look for Hernán Cortés, it'll say he came from Extremadura. All the conquistadores, even Christopher Columbus, came from Extremadura, Spain. And if you look, their number one business out of that place was pig. That's what they used to breed there and then sell. And it was actually the poorest region in Spain. It's the poorest region out there. It was called Extremadura. And that's where all these conquistadores came from. That's why they brought pork. That's why they bring pig. They bring pig because they were hired to come out here and find land because of the famine and they had just, if you look at the timeline, you'll see that the Black Plague, right, was a century right before the conquest of Latin America. So the Black Plague and coming to America were kind of like hand in hand. There was a war going on out there, and what they needed to do was find more land, more gold, and they knew that there was people over here because they weren't. Man, Christopher Columbus was not the first one to come out here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was not the first. All he did was take the records of previous sailors and come back over here, and he knew the people that were here were indigenous and spoke certain languages. That's why he hired certain people to come with him that could translate and speak with them. You know what I mean? Because that's why they came out here. They came out here to conquer this place and to take this land because the queen wanted more. Man, you know the greed of these devils. They don't get enough. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they came over here. So our people, they come from a royalty. That's why we were royal when we were here in the beginning. They didn't discover nothing. Our land was the mightiest land. When they saw this place, they were like, wow, they're in paradise. They couldn't believe their eyes when they took one good look at what our people had built. To this day, we continue to build. Man, La Raza, we some heavy, heavy people. Because now our culture is so great. Like I can't even say the words of how majestic our people are, how powerful our people are. And we have forgotten. And if we've taken other people's cultures and we're trying to imitate other cultures, not knowing that our culture was the greatest culture that has ever existed. When it comes to art, when it comes to food, when it comes to buildings, when it comes to architecture, man, we outdone everybody. And they know it.
Right.
Salagi, go ahead, Ayar.
No, I was agreeing with what you were saying. That's fact. We're so rich in our culture, man. I mean, you can go back to our roots. It's so deep, man. Even with the revolutionary, even within that times. I mean, the history, the legends behind all that, all the way to the Aztec times, the Mayan times, and it goes all the way back to Israel. You know, when the general was talking about an event that King David had, you know, Issachar. You know what I mean? Like we have such a rich history. You know what I mean? So
Con, absolutely. Like man, our culture is man, it's magnificent. You know what I'm saying? Like our pyramids outdo the pyramids of Egypt.
Oh, absolutely.
We outdo those pyramids. And now our culture is so great, man, that to be us, we should be like, hell yeah. We should never say we're Mexican American. You know, that's an insult to our people. To be Mexican American, that's an insult. You know, you can say you're Chicano, I guess, because you know the Chicano was just a slang word used to our people when they wanted to put us down, and we take Chicano as a word that, okay, fuck it. It's just like our brothers, our black brothers, they call them niggas, and they're like, okay, you're gonna call us Negroes, niggas. Well, we're gonna take that word and we're gonna make the best of it. Well, so did we. That word Chicano, that was a derogatory word towards us. That was like calling us a greaser, a spick, or a wetback. Chicano was the same thing. All we did was take that word and be like, okay, fuck it, I am Chicano. Hell, I'll be Chicano. And it was a word that we took. If you look at the history of the word Chicano, you'll find out that word was a word that was being used against us, just like the word Christian. They used the word Christian against the Israelites because they were like, oh, they're Christians because they believe in this Christ. So then they began to call us Christians. And I believe that word was also a derogatory word against us, you know, because they're always trying to put us down one way or another. And you know what? We fall into the nonsense that they develop against us. And they psychologically tell us things, and they destroy us mentally in our own mind, that we begin to believe the garbage that they teach us. And then we begin to, reverberate this over and over and over again. And we begin to tell our children, and our children tell their children, till we start to establish in a place where we accept to be called these things, or we accept to become Mexican American, or we accept to become, Americanized. But let me tell you, the fear of America, they hate Mexicans because they know we will never assimilate into their culture. The majority of us refuse to assimilate into American culture. We'll still eat goddamn tortillas and beans. We'll still have taco trucks. We'll still have taco stands. We still celebrate the goddamn quinceañeras and the banda and the norteño. We still want to speak our Spanish. Our grandparents, we're still loving our people. We still send money to our parents in Mexico. Why? Because we can never assimilate completely into a culture. Because through heart, blood, and spirit, we will always be revolutionists. And that's what Commanding General Johanna spoke about, that the Issachar were a mighty strong people. And we used to fight side to side with Judah. Whenever Judah went to war, we would be like, well, I guess we're going to war. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If Judah's going to war, hell, we're going to war with them too. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing in the Bible, that Judah and Issachar, man, we've always been together. And the white man knows that. And that's why it's important for them to separate us and to divide us, because then you conquer us in this manner. You know what I'm saying? Salakia, go ahead.
I was going to say, other one, it's crazy how it takes war for us to come together. God. I mean, during the slaveries, we told Judah, hey, come over here and we got you. You know what I mean? And then when Judah started coming, the Europeans that were chasing down the slaves, and then Issachar, we killed them all. You know what I mean? God. But even today, with Black Lives Matter, you know what I mean, and everything else that's going on, we're always there. You know what I mean? Even to this day.
Most High Christ.
Absolutely. Mexico opened its doors during that time, to allow black slaves, runaway slaves, to come into Mexico. And we abolished slavery in Mexico. Mexico was the first one to abolish slavery through Vicente Guerrero. Vicente Guerrero he cut all that. He said no slavery, and any Mexican, any black that comes into Mexico is considered a free man. Let me tell you, the U.S. did not agree with them. They were pushing the issue that Vicente Guerrero and Mexican people should send back any slave that crossed the border, but they refused to send any black man back. You know, when I was researching this thing called mestizo, and you know, there's been a change, and in schools they're teaching this garbage. They're teaching this garbage that a mestizo person is a half Spaniard, half indigenous person. That's the garbage that's being.
Right.
They're saying a mestizo is half Spaniard, half indigenous. No, you're wrong. A mestizo is a half black, half indigenous person. That's what a mestizo is. Un mestizaje is the crossing of a black and native Indian. And you know this because when you read the story of Vicente Guerrero, they describe him as a mestizo, and he was black and native and indigenous Mexican. That's what he was. You know what happens is that, you know, the Spaniard wants to push that us Mexicans, that all of us are half Spaniard. And this is the garbage that's going around talking about, yeah, no, you got light skin because you're half Spaniard. But what people don't count on and what they don't want to see is that the codex that exists in Mexico today, these codex, which are dated 16, 15, 1400s, still have drawings and pictures of what we look like when our indigenous time. And a lot of people tell you, well, those only existed in the 15 and 1600s. Well, you're only talking about a century. You did not mix that much blood in one goddamn century. Please, that didn't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? A mestizo is a half black, half indigenous person. And that was why the Spaniards, man, a Spaniard to this day won't marry a goddamn Mexican. You know what I'm saying? And a Spaniard will never marry a black person. You don't see that. That's not there. Man, let me tell you, Spaniards don't even hang around Mexicans today. Like, how many Spaniard friends do you have, or do you know, or do you work with? They don't. They're not in our neighborhoods. Spaniards and Mexicans don't mix. Never have. Never will. And go ahead.
I was say I got a couple of videos I could play for you in regards to the Spaniards if you want me to bring them out.
Yeah, about what they say about Mexicans.
Yeah, so the Spaniard woman like is saying some things. If you want me to bring it out on them, I can bring it out and play it.
Yeah, if you got it. Let me tell you, I seen this article, right? This article had came out about how Mexican people are treated that go on trips to Spain. You should look this up. Like, I'm challenging you. Look up Mexican people who have encounters when traveling to Spain. Let me tell you, man, Spaniards do not want Mexican people in Spain. And the funny thing is, a lot of these Mexican people think they're going to Spain because that's their ancestral land. And when they get there, they realize that they're not wanted there. They are not wanted in Spain. And they're treated in a manner that, man, there's plenty of videos. I'm not talking 5 or 6 or even 50, maybe not even 100, but more than that, of videos where Mexican people, men and women, complain about how they were treated when they arrived at the airport in Spain. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You want to play that? Go ahead.
Come with concert.
Latin Americans say stuff like, your people, Spaniards, enslaved our people. First of all,
you know, it's pretty funny when Spaniards come and try to tell people from America Latina how they should feel about the generational trauma that their community has faced for hundreds of years. Familia, buckle up. This is a roller coaster. It gets pretty bad, and then it gets worse. Watch.
That happened 500 years ago. I am 30 years old. I am not responsible for that. Ergo, I'm not apologizing.
Last frame says, so get over it. I can tell that your white fragility is showing, but nobody is asking you to apologize, just to acknowledge that people from my community are still suffering because of the sins that your ancestors committed. So no, we will not get over it.
Question. Japan got not one, but two nuclear blasts. And they're like super developed country. What's your excuse? What's the excuse of Latin America? Because what happened to them was 500 years ago. The gold that we stole, I'm still waiting on my share
Sure
because
you are.
I never got anything.
Wow. Here you are waiting for that gold. Sure you would love to receive it, but wouldn't want to apologize. And also comparing Latin America to Japan, almost that you can't acknowledge that America Latina has been meddled with for hundreds of years, has had an impact on our economy. More to say about this Japan thing, but I don't think you'll understand, so let's keep going.
When I say you're welcome, it's because you speak Spanish, you're Catholic, and even though you have, because each country have their own culture, you have the influence of the Spanish culture, and that's why you have what you have right now. You wouldn't be who you are right now without the Spaniards or without the Spanish conquerors.
So you want credit. Well, thank you for all the diseases. Thanks for the religion that resulted in the deaths of millions of people. Thank you for the eradication of beautiful, fruitful languages in exchange for Spanish. Colorism and racism and machismo. Listen, we are here despite the conquistadores' efforts to try and erase us. Why are you so mad that we're resisting as if y'all have so much more to offer? Let's skip over your weird claim to try to take over horchata. That's not even yours, that's from Africa. And the way that we do it in our community is different and better. I think she's mad that we colonized horchata better than she could. Also made some weird point about the Spanish allowing people that were born in Latin America when they fled from the war to become Spanish citizens. How does that benefit Latin America? That was for y'all. You're not as special as you think you are, and your ignorance is really showing.
Wow.
That's crazy. Damn, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's a sentiment Spaniard people have, because not too long ago, we had spoken about how the president of Mexico had asked the Catholic Church and the Spanish government to sit at the table and put aside what had happened during the conquest of Mexico and to take responsibility or apologize for what had happened. And the Spanish government and the Catholic Church refused. They said they would never apologize. That woman or that dog is actually repeating the same words that the president and the Catholic Church said when they answered to the president of Mexico about apologizing. She didn't think that up on her own. Those are the same damn words that came out of their mouth. That dog right there,
right.
And you can tell she's a dog because she's scratching the fleas on her head, and the same goddamn words that came out of her mouth are the same words that came out of the president's and the Catholic Church's mouth. You know what I'm saying?
No,
let me tell you something.
Sir.
Go ahead.
I will say out of one real quick. You notice how she said, I had nothing to do with it. Who else do they tell that, man? They tell our black brothers and sisters the same thing when they bring up slavery. That I had nothing to do with it. I'm not my ancestors. That's what she's saying about us for what Spain has done to our indigenous ancestors, sir. Salakia. They just had to drop that.
Salakia, if I may.
Go ahead.
Salakia, you broke up.
Oh, you didn't hear me, Adawan?
No, we heard you, Adawan.
Okay. Go ahead, Natazayab. Come, we hear you, Adawan.
Okay,
go
ahead.
If I may, sir, it's amazing the arrogance that these people have. They tell you to forget the bad, but look at her. She's taking credit for the good, right? Well, the quote unquote good that we should be thankful for. For being colonized, raped, and pillaged and murdered. We should be thankful for that because we speak Spanish. And for me, it's definitely disrespect. Because it's like I'd rather you tell me in my face that you don't like me, instead of me telling me to be thankful for speaking Spanish, or like that's something good, or calling me Hispanic, or what do they do nowadays? The Latin X. They got all these different titles for us. When it's like, hey, look, I'd rather you call me what you really want to call me. Don't try to assimilate me to your bullshit. Salaki.
Right.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, one of the things that they don't understand is that the apologies that they're giving really does us no good. Like we don't even really want an apology from them. You know what I'm saying? That's just testing them to see. You know what they say that well, let's be human. Let's save the dogs. Let's save the whales. Let's save the air. Let's save the flowers. Let's save this. Let's save that. But they're unhuman. They're animals because they have no feelings towards other humans. They'll want to save everything, but they'll never consider the garbage that they've done or who they are as people because they don't even come close. You know what I mean? So they have no feelings, man. They don't. We don't want I don't want an apology from these people. Their apology is worthless. It means nothing. Like keep your words and keep your alligator tears because they're no good. They do no good. You know what I mean? There's nothing there for us. Like what can you possibly say that will remedy the 600, 700 years of rob, rape, murder, and torture? What could she possibly say to end the poison and the venom and the disease of the Catholic Church or of the Christian Church? What can possibly come out of her stupid mouth that would end my people's ignorance of who they are? You know what I'm saying? It could never happen. She could never say anything to change that. You know who can? We can. Our words mean more than the apology of any goddamn Spaniard that has ever lived. Our words mean more than anything they have. Like we should understand the power that we have. We have the power to change our people just by giving them knowledge of who they are. She can never give us knowledge of who she is or who we are. She's just some dumb dog that's running around mouthing off. You know what? She has a mouth because they gave it to her, but it's no good. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Salakia.
No, I was just agreeing with you, Adawan. You know, it's really it's disrespectful in every way you look at it. You know, the way they want us to be like them, but for how many years? 400 or 500 years. You know, we've been in this captivity, and you know, we're still a second, third class citizen. You know, we still get talked about like dogs, and the reality is they're the one that's dogs. You know, I don't know which way it went, whether they took after the pig or the pig took after them, but it seems like they got the same characteristics, sir.
Right.
We've been in slavery a lot longer than 500 years, man. You know, we were enslaved before Judah even came over here. You know what I mean?
Right. That if I could, sir, like I want to say this, man. It comes to show you, you know, the true nature of these oppressors. You know what I mean, and why we say, you know, the oppressor, and you know who I'm talking about. Of course, you know, so the video don't get flagged. This is why we call them the devil that the Bible speaks of, because that's their response to our pain and our suffering. That's their response to the oppression we suffer today. They tell us to get over it, man. They always tell us that they didn't have nothing to do with it, that you know, they're not benefiting from it. That's not check. You live here in America, right? Yeah, y'all live over here on the land that your ancestors stole. I don't see not one of you single colonizers packing your shit up and leaving and giving back what your ancestors took. Y'all not doing that, but you want to say you had nothing to do with it. The fact you still here in America today is you're still benefiting from what your ancestors did. And a higher power, the Most High, said that y'all are gonna suffer for the iniquities of your fathers. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. That's how you know we serve a righteous power, because this is the attitude of them. Their attitude is to say, you got to get over it. I had nothing to do with it. Meanwhile, they say, never forget Pearl Harbor. Never forget 9/11. You know what I mean? Every atrocity done to them, they never forget it. Meanwhile, we asked Spain for an apology, and Spain's like, hell no, I'm not apologizing for that. This lady's saying, get over it. And that's the sentiments that these Spaniards had towards Raza, man. And that's why Raza, you should take heed of that. Because here's another thing, right? I'll always bring this out, and I'm going to bring it out right now, sir. Like, where is the EU at? Where is Spain at to come to our aid, you know, for what America does to us, for our kids in those cages? I not had heard one word from the Spanish government, you You know what I mean? I didn't see one anything on the news about the European Union or the Spanish government, putting sanctions against America for the way they treat our children. What's going on the border right now in the Rio Grande, right? You got people camping out right there along the border. Who knows what those people are going through right there, man? How they're treating them. We saw what they did to our Haitian brothers and sisters, but you can only imagine what they're doing to our Raza out there, man. I don't see Spain coming to the aid of them, you know what I mean, or the EU, whatever those, Doctors Without Borders, all those medical organizations from Europe to come to the aid to help the people out there, man. They're not doing a damn thing because they know we're not the people. But so, I'll give the floor back to the next priest.
Go ahead, y'all. You want to say something?
No, I'm too wild.
Oh, no, absolutely. Let me tell you something. No matter what these people do, they can never change the fact of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And one thing is for sure, as long as people continue to be Catholic and Christian, they will accept. And you know what? And a lot of people side with what she's doing. There's actually pinche raza that'll agree with what she's saying. They'll say, well, that was a long time ago. It's already in the past. You know what she didn't realize? She didn't realize, and she didn't mention that the Asian people, the Japanese, they got reparations for what happened to them. You know what I'm saying? They got money for what happened to them. And America apologized for what happened to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And they paid for it monetarily. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Spaniards are dogs, man. They've never apologized unless gave us the money that they've taken from us. You know what I mean? Or anything they've ever taken from anybody. That's the kind of people you're dealing with right there. That's the kind of Spaniard you're dealing with right there. And man, like I said, you got to see the reaction that they have when they talk about Mexicans who travel to Mexico, to Spain, and the way they're treated out there. You know what I mean? That's something you got to see. That's a wake-up call to help you understand that they don't give a damn about Hispanic people.
Sir. Yeah, I send a little video to the chat. You know what I mean? It kind of explains to what you're saying right now. The one, like, they don't give a damn. You know what I mean? What's going on with the children at the border, Raza at the border, Raza on these facilities? Are we just going to forget about that? You know what I mean? This is still going on. You know what I mean? And nobody's still not doing anything about it.
That's right.
You know what we do? We go out and we celebrate the goddamn soccer games.
Right.
That's the one thing we are doing. We're celebrating the goddamn soccer games. We're celebrating Christmas. We're celebrating El Día de Guadalupe. That's one thing that we are doing. That's what Mexicans do. People don't realize the history of all this garbage. You know what I mean? Like soccer, people don't realize the history of the garbage in soccer. You know what I mean? I am not a sports fan. And you know why I'm not a sports fan? Because I know the truth behind the sports. You know what I mean? You got to know the truth behind sports to realize what garbage all this is, and how, I think it was one of the brothers had said, the thing about sports is that it's a way they do to keep us entertained so that we don't see the reality of what's happening.
It's a distraction.
A way of entertaining us so that we don't know truth. And all we do is live this lie. It's a Roman way of life. They had the Colosseum to keep people, the masses, entertained. Today, soccer, football, basketball keeps the masses entertained. And we forget who we are. You know what I mean? You going to play that? Go ahead.
Okay, sir. All right, here you go.
To talk about. So I got a question. When are we gonna stop Mexican hate? Like, what is this? Everybody complaining about how bad their life is, but I don't see nobody having to live like this right here. I don't see nobody living like this right here. Nobody having to sleep like this right here, bro. These is kids. These is babies. And yes, all of this stuff is going on right now. But we're not saying stop Mexican hate if they're not immigrants, because this is their native land. Let's talk about a topic that nobody wants to talk about. So I got a question. When are we going to stop Mexican hate? Like, what is this? Everybody complaining about how bad their life is, but I don't see nobody having to live like this right here. I don't see nobody living like this right here. Nobody having to sleep like this right here, bro. These is kids. These is babies. And yes, all of this stuff is going on right now. But we're not saying stop Mexican hate, but they're not immigrants because this is their native land.
Brown lives matter, right?
Right.
Right. Damn right. There's another one. Go ahead, Adawan.
No, go ahead, Salaya.
Oh no, I was go ahead, sir. You two you go ahead.
I was gonna
drop.
say, our people are still coming in, trying to find a better life in America, not knowing that what they're really coming to is destruction. You know what I mean?
God.
They're really coming to destruction. They're really coming to a place that, you know what, man, America has become the melting pot of destruction for Hispanic people. That's what we come here to die. We come here to live like that. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. I'm the one in line. I work all day, come home burnt out, and they pile the work on my end, man. They're piling the work on me and expecting me to pick up everything they throw in there in an 8-hour shift. They trying to work my ass. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we come here for. And I got a partner, my primo, in my job. And not only does he do the work right there with me, but he gets out and then he has to go to his next job, which is a Home Depot. So he finishes with me and then he goes to another place to continue his work day. That's the way it is for Mexicans here in America. You know what I'm saying? We ain't seeing, man,
right.
We hardworking people. And man, we work to the bone. That's the truth.
Salakia, I don't think we left the fields since slavery.
Con.
We still there.
Yeah, Con, you're right. We still there. We're picking up all the jobs nobody else wants. And we're like, damn, we'll take it. If it's going to pay my rent, it's going to pay my food, it's going to keep my family, man, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how we think. That's what it is with us. And you know what? It's a shame that they treat us the way they do. You know what I mean? And yet we still out here celebrating their holidays, celebrating their memorials, celebrating all their garbage. We give honor to them and we don't even know it. You know what I mean?
It's a damn shame.
Yeah, it is. It's a damn shame. Go ahead, Malagma.
Now the one I was gonna say, I've been sharing the video, like I'm coming across, like all these pages, and looks like we're getting some positive feedback. We got a brother that is waking up and understanding that we are not Spaniards. He said, part of his message he said is thank you for sharing this post. I always knew this and I've never been to Spain and never want to be there. But take one look at Mexican TV, all you see is white
You're
people.
Breaking up.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, the one? Okay, come. So like, it might be my microphone. But he wrote this, man. He said, I always thank you for sharing this post. I always knew this and I never been to Spain and never want to be there. You know what I mean? So one of the things, right, that I, like why I'm in this work, right, is to help our Raza decolonize. And the way one of the first steps in decolonizing is realizing that we are not Spaniards. You know what I mean? And we have zero connection to Spain. A lot of people want to say, like come at us for being, Israelites, saying zero connection to Israel. Well, let me that a little bit. We got zero connection to Spain. We are not Spaniards, man. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure that a lot of Raza, you might not rock with us being Israelites, but you can understand that you're not a Spaniard.
Right.
Ask yourself which conquistador is your great granddaddy if you're really a Spaniard. When you go back to Spain, it's the holiday season right now, right? I'm pretty sure you're not buying a plane ticket to go back to Spain. You're not, planning a trip to España, but you are gonna go to Mexico. You are gonna take that flight back to, to Jalisco, to Zacatecas, to Michoacán. You know what I mean? Chihuahua, you know what I mean? All the spots that our familias come from, you will go back there, but you won't go back to Spain. You know what I mean?
Hey,
So that's the thing.
you're still gonna have beans and tortillas and
Right.
pinche salsa. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Y frijoles, you know.
They think they got a connection to Spain because of the name Hispanic.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of them feel they get a sense of pride when they hear the word Hispanic, man. I take that as an insult because, like you said, R1, we have zero connection towards the Spaniards, man. Zero connection. There's nothing that they're doing that we want to do. They want to do whatever we do. We're the one that have the salt, the season, the flavor, the estilo, the swagger. That's us, man. There's nothing that they're doing that we want to do, man. Like,
if I could real quick, I just want to add to some. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of Raza thinks, you know, like Lopez. Let's say we'll just use the name Lopez, right? You think that last name Lopez is your heritage, man. Meanwhile, you're not realizing how many Lopez's are out there, and they're not part of your immediate family. You didn't grow up with this cat. You don't have the same grandfather and grandmother, but you got the same last name. You think that last name is your family legacy? Come on now, man. That should let you know something, Raza. We're not Spaniards. We don't come from Spain, man. And I know, you know, like it's been instilled in us to hate our indigenous roots, to hate, you know, for those that are, you know, quote unquote Latino, to hate your, you know, your black roots. You know what I'm saying? We're both the chosen people. You know what I mean? We're both the salt of the earth. You know what I mean? And every other nation out there, man. You go to Japan, you go to Asia, to Europe. Then Europe, they got, you know, these devils trying to do live action role playing of the Mexica. You know what I mean? In China or in Japan and Vietnam, you got them chinos trying to act like cholos. You know what I mean? You can never tell me we're
not just China. We got Vietnamese, we got Thailand, Japan, all of them trying to be Issachar.
Right, man. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like that should let you know something, that we are a chosen people, and this whole time we have been taught to be ashamed of our roots and our stilo. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, they copy it and make a how do you say, a hobby out of it. They make a trend out of it. What is it with these hipsters, right? I don't want you go to Highland Park, Echo Park. You got these hipsters wearing their flannel shirts with Dickie shorts and long socks and some Nike shoes. Who'd they steal that from, man? You know what I mean? A lot of them get that haircut, you know, where they'll get the sides faded and slick the hair back like a pachuco. Who'd they get that from? You know what I mean? They got that from us, man. Meanwhile, they mocked us for it and made a trend out of it. So you know what I mean? This is why we say they're the devil the Bible speaks of. You know what I mean?
That's
because of how they take us and take what we have and try to capitalize off of it. You know what I mean? You got, you know, like they copy, you know, everything, man. You know what I mean? Everything that we do, they take it from us and try to, you know, make it a trend and capitalize off it, man. Meanwhile, they tell you you're ghetto, you're what is it? Ignorant, you're
too hippity,
you're uncivilized because you rock this style. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, they take it. You know, but yeah, Salaki, I'm gonna give the floor back, man. You know,
sir, you're absolutely right, man. And even when they bring their businesses out here, it's us working them. You know what I mean? It's us in those kitchens, man. I mean, we cook their food better than they do.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They couldn't, you know, they really would be nothing without us. We bring culture into their country. Without us, this country would have been what it always was. You know what I mean? What was it? Imagine without us, without our culture, what they would be doing is still hanging people and then burning them for entertainment. They'd still be doing that. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be doing what they do today. The only reason that they have the things they have is because we've taught them. First, they taught them how to bathe. You know what I'm saying? Our black brothers taught them how to bathe when they came out of the caves. We taught them how to bathe, and now down the line, we had to show them how to even have entertainment. Without the black man, there would be no football. You know what I'm saying? there would be no basketball. Without us, there wouldn't be no swag, no culture, no cars. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't have that. They'd just be lost in nothing. You know what I mean? Anybody else got anything?
I was gonna say, you know, like actually, and if you go and read some history about your culture, Raza, you know, the very first sport teams came out of the Aztecs and the Mayans.
Right.
The very first team with the ball and teams this side and that side, the very first sports came out of our culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything that we do, man, is just glorious. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like we invented the ball game. You know what I mean? We're the ones who bring that into existence. They probably didn't. Well, you know why we brought it into existence? Because we the rubber tree is from Latin America. That's where you find the rubber tree. You know what I mean? And the ball game Olamatzli or what is it? Olamatzli is the ball game that they used to play, which is almost like basketball. You know what I'm saying? It was almost the same thing. You know what I mean?
The ball in the hoop.
The ball in the hoop, yeah. In the Mayans, what is it? Ulama. Ulama in the Mayans is the game that the indigenous population used to play, Ulama, which is, you know, what is it? Closely to like, I don't know, basketball, a form of basketball, soccer. But you know what? You know what gets you? That they played this game called Ulama, right? That was their name of the game, and you know, it was their sport, you know. But the Spaniards wrote somewhere that now people think that the people that that lost were sacrificed.
Yeah, they were killed. They were saying that that's a game of politics. Like whoever won, you know,
they were sacrificed.
They get decapitated. Right.
That it was a ritual that they'd cut off their heads and they'd kill them. But you know what? I believe that is not true. How can you have such an advanced civilization in every aspect? Food, culture, music, games, architecture, but they're savages.
Concert.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what they said about the Native American Indian. The Native American Indian was savages. They used to scalp and kill each other.
So they said, kill the savage and save the man.
Right. And now they're finding, what are they finding? They're finding graveyards by the schools. The what is that? The school or the
missions.
The missions and the what is those schools called? The boarding schools. And they're finding thousands of children buried there. So who killed them? They did that too? No, man. Right. The Catholic Church, the Caucasians did that to them. They murdered those children by the thousands. In Miami, I believe it's an orange grove that exists in Miami, or peach grove that exists in Florida. And that peach grove, the whole place is a burial ground for black people. That peach grove. You ever heard of that? It's a peach grove in Florida where it's all black people buried there. It's a mass graveyard of black people, slaves, and peaches grow there now. And what a coincidence that you look at Mexico and they found thousands of children that were sacrificed, supposedly, by them. They would sacrifice thousands of children daily. But once again, you got Mexicans sacrificed everybody. They did all the murdering. The Native American Indians sacrificed everybody, killed everybody.
Right.
The black man also, they just died because they did.
Mm-hmm.
But no one thinks, wait a minute, what a coincidence. Everywhere these people end up, millions of graveyards are found of children and dead people.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
You really got to be like some kind of investigator to wake your eyes up and be like, these same people did this to everybody. And now they're blaming us and writing it in their history books, talking about that we were savages, talking about that we did this, that we were, cannibals, that we ate our own people. They're out of their goddamn mind. They're the cannibals.
Damn right.
They're the murderers. Go ahead, Salakia.
And I was gonna say, you know, everything that they say is a damn lie. You know what I mean? Everything that they tell you, man, you're gonna have to you have to go research and read some books, man. They say they don't want to keep something hidden from us. They put it in the book. All of our history's in these books, man. You know what I mean? Even the when they say that the Spaniards came over here and Cortez came over here with their men, and they wiped all fucking the Aztecs out. I mean, even that story right there is a damn lie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Cortez came with like 600 men, and their very first battle that they went against the Aztecs, they lost, and they retreated. And when they retreated, they went and recruited the Aztecs enemies, the so-called haters. You know what I mean? They recruited them, and they came with 100,000 men. They're the ones that beat the Aztecs, not Cortez.
God.
Even that right there's a damn lie, man.
Right. God.
And then how they say that they raped everybody and all the Mexicans are the sons of Cortez.
Right.
Man, we all know that the white man can't even reproduce.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why we call him the devil the Bible speaks of, because devil means a deceiver.
That's right.
Right. That's heavy. You know what I mean? If I could, I don't want that. You know what I mean? Just want to add to what Officer Ayar is saying. It's like I said, they call us savages. They call us uncivilized. Meanwhile, look at what they did. This oppressor did not steal this land because he was technologically advanced or he was more stronger than us. There's a reason why he's called the most subtle beast of the field, right?
Right.
Because he's conniving. You know what I mean? He's crafty. He knew how to pit tribes against one another. You know what I mean? And that's the only way they were able to win. You know what I mean? Because what's the scripture say? A house united cannot stand, right? Or a house divided cannot stand. That's what they did with all the indigenous tribes. They went and pitted tribes against one another, so that they wouldn't be united, and thus they were able to, you know, to enslave them, to rob, rape, and murder them. You know what I mean? Then about kill the Indian and save the man. We have to save them. You know what I mean? Like, this is why, man. Like how you think robbing, raping, and murdering of people is saving them? And I understand, right? I understand the fight back we get from Raza, you know, because, you know, for the Bible and whatnot. But if you were to hear us out, Raza, you were to hear us out how we break down what's in these scriptures. Nothing in there is white. You know what I mean? This is not their book. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You don't want to believe it's ours, no sweat, but don't give them the credit. Don't give them the credit for that book, because nothing in there is justifies what they did to us. Nowhere in the Bible does it instruct the Edomites to rob, rape, and murder our indigenous ancestors. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. It says what's going to happen to them for what they did to our ancestors.
Right, Con.
It predicted the Spaniards coming over. Go ahead, sir. Salaki.
And so I'm going to drop some knowledge and some statistics that come from the Berkeley University. Okay, it's Woodrow Bora, which is one of the professors at Berkeley, California, University, Berkeley University. You know, one of the top universities. Woodrow Bora, an authority on the demography of ancient Mexico. This goddamn white man thinks he's the authority of ancient Mexico, not us, right? He has recently estimated that the Aztecs sacrificed 250,000 people a year. That's what he says. This is the Aztec sacrifices.
Salakia, if I could, they say that they were doing that in a day.
In a day, Khan. I was gonna go into that. He said 144 people per day, 4,320 per month, 51,840 per year is what they're saying, because they found areas where they found thousands of children and women's and men's bones, right? Let me shed some knowledge on you. 200, think about that number, 250,000 people. This place is called Natchez, Adams County, Mississippi, listen to this story I'm about to read. As black slaves, damn, hang on, go no place. Let me get my computer up. I gotta read this to you. What?
Oh, swear,
Salakia, you know, let's give me 1 second here, because this is getting interesting, right? Because I'm about to show you, we're about to compare these bastards.
You're about to hurt some feelings, R1. I feel it.
This should anger us. This should anger us because this white man thinks he's the authority on Mexican culture. God damn it, I'm the authority on Mexican culture.
That's right.
Right.
As black slaves made their way to freedom, the town of Natchez in Mississippi, Adams County, quickly went from the population of 10,000 to nearly 100,000 people, black people. It doesn't say that, but that's what they were.
Right.
To deal with the population influx of recent freedom, right? A concentration camp was established by the Union soldiers, white soldiers, to eradicate the slaves, essentially. Don Estates, former director of Natch City Cemetery, said, so they decided to build an encampment and call it the Devil's Punch Bowl, which they walled off and wouldn't let them out. The camp was called the Devil's Punch Bowl because of how the area was shaped. The camp was at the bottom of a cavernous pit with trees and bluffs above. The women and children were locked behind the concrete wall of the camp and left to die from starvation. Many also died from smallpox diseases. Over 20,000 freed slaves were killed inside the American concentration camp in 1 year. 20,000. Black men were recaptured by the Union troops and forced back into hard labor. This is how the Aztec people died in the hands of the Spaniards. The same way these black people died in the hands of the, what were they? The English or the British or the French, whatever they were.
All of them, I don't want all of them.
All of these goddamn devils.
Goddamn people. So you really want to know the numbers of us sacrificing our people? Zero. We didn't sacrifice our people. There is a story for the Aztec, for my Mexican people, the War of the Flowers, La Guerra de las Flores, it was called. And there was sacrifices of Aztec and Perupeche people. But it was different because one ruler spoke to another ruler and they were like, you know what, there's famine and we think the gods are mad at us. Let's make a deal. Get your best soldiers and we'll get our best soldiers and we'll fight. And those that lose will give their lives in sacrifice so that we might get rain, so that we might feed our people. And those that went out and fought, they didn't die with dishonor. They died with honor because in their thought, I'm going to die for my people can live, for my people can survive. It's called the War of the Flowers, La Guerra de las Flores. It was the Aztec Perupeche War that was brought on to Mexico during the time of a famine that hit the region. And the men that died, the Aztec soldiers, the Eagle warriors, the Jaguar warriors that died, they died for their people with honor because they really thought, shit, if they sacrifice me, maybe the gods will have some kind of mercy on our people and give them water. So they didn't die in vain, and they definitely didn't die in the manner like these bastards killed these black brothers and sisters.
That's right.
And the way the Spaniard killed our people. Was it ignorance on our part to die for fake gods? Of course it was. But in the spirit of being Hispanic, Mexican, Aztec, or whatever you wanted, you died with honor because you thought you were going to die for your people. Now that's an honorable way to die. Now you may be wrong, but damn, you know, I'm going to do it for my people. And that's the spirit that our people carry. Because even now, when you think of los los villistas or the zapatistas or the orosquistas or all these revolutionists, they thought the same thing. We're going to go and we're going to die, but we're going to die for our people to get back their land. We're going to die with honor. And that's the way Raza dies. We die with honor. But then when we start believing in the American way and the Mexican American way, now we're dying for the American dollar. Now we're killing our brothers and sisters for that almighty green dollar. All the goddamn traficantes in Mexico, toda la raza que anda de malandra, de los malandrines, they're not dying for the peso. They're not dying for Mexican money. They're dying for the American dollar. They got homes that are filled with American money because they don't die for their own. They die for the American way, for the American dollar, for the what does that say on the dollar bill? In God we trust.
God we
That's
trust,
the God they trust. They trust in that dollar God, the almighty God dollar, and they'll die for that dollar. Why? Because it's the American way. Because that's what that is. That's the poison that has destroyed Latin America. That's the dream, the American dream that has become the nightmare for our people. That's what that is. Salakia.
Damn right. You know, I don't know if you guys brought the story. I don't want to have you heard the story about the guy that got captured from one of the high rank soldiers from the cartel.
Right.
How he got captured and how he was captured in the U.S. and the feds, the FBI had a hold of him, and he was in their facilities, and then all of a sudden, his record was wiped clean.
Wow!
I think he was the first one, from what I think, ever in history, they will take somebody like him and wipe his record clean.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then again, I think these devils are using the same tactics that Cortez did against our own people, because they were saying that La Barbie has information because his organization was working with the government in Mexico. So they're kind of using him as bait. Like, you know, we'll take you, we wipe your record clean, just let us know what they're doing.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I never heard of anybody at his caliber and then just wipe his record clean. You know what I mean? That's unheard of.
Right. Come on. It's a wicked nation, and it's a wicked world. You know what I'm saying? And our people are being played left and right from this wickedness. That's what it really is. That's what it really is. You know what I mean? So we're getting a little late into the program. I think we wanna cut a little short. You know, not too much time left. So you guys wanna finish up with something?
Come on, sir.
However you want to do it, man. You know what time did you start?
Start like at 8:45.
Oh, okay.
So we
about 2 hours.
Yeah, we did it, you know, we started a little earlier. You know what I mean? But however, I mean, I'll say something, man. You know what I mean? Like Raza right now is the time, man. Like we're bringing out this information. You know what I mean? For a reason. We're bringing out this information to wake you up. Everyone knows about decolonizing, right? And the revolution starts in your mind. Like the change starts in fighting, the revolution in your mind. That's when you go back to the Bible, everyone thinks the mark of the beast is some microchip that's putting you through a vaccine, right? When the mark of the beast is a philosophy. You want to know what the mark of the beast is? Thinking you're a Spaniard. That's the mark of the beast. Being a Catholic, that's also the mark of the beast. And the way you change, right, is by ridding yourself of that mark out of your mind. Decolonizing. But in order to decolonize, you got to replace what's colonized, what was in there that's colonized, and replace it with the truth, right? And that's what we're bringing out to you. We're showing you the connection of how we, of being an Israelite versus and being indigenous. You know what I mean? Because we all agree, right, from the north to the south of this continent, we're one people. But we don't know why. We think, we're not one people because we all live on the same continent. If that's the case, then you would consider the white man your brother. You wouldn't have an issue with the white man being here. but you know you're not the same as him. You know he's not your brother. And you know that Native American man over here, you know the Native American tribes here, and the indigenous tribes of Mexico, Peru, El Salvador, all the way down to Argentina, what is it, Brazil, Chile, all those indigenous people out there, you all recognize that we're all one people. Well, being one people, we're one nation, man, and that one nation has a name, it has an identity, and that's the Israelites, man. That's your ancestors, ancestors. They had to have come from somebody, you know what I mean? So that's how, you don't want to believe the artifacts, you don't want to believe what I'm saying, no sweat. Look at your oppression, look at the suffering, look at what you're going through. That's the proof you're an Israelite. Saying you have no connection to being an Israelite is the proof you're an Israelite. That's also in that Bible, that Israel will be cut off from its inheritance. They will, and the oppressor will make it illegal for you to profess yourself to be a Jew, to be an Israelite. That's what the Romans did with the Israelites in the time of Christ. Look at what the Spaniards did with the indigenous people in the time of their conquest. They made it illegal for you to be indigenous. They literally beat the culture out of you, man. That's the proof, man, that you're the chosen people. There's a reason why they say kill the Indian and save the man, right? The man they're trying to save, right? Not trying to over philosophize it or mystical or none, man. I would just say, like, this is the crafty counsel of the devil, man. When they talk about save the man, they talk about themselves. They gonna kill the Indians so they can save themselves. You know what I mean? That's what they really want to say. Salakia. That's not an official stance, y'all. I just want to say that.
Right.
But yeah, I'll pass to the next priest.
Natazayab, go ahead.
Come on, sir. I guess all I could say is, you got to give us a chance. If you say you're bound pride, Viva la Raza, about familia, come in here and see our perspective about things. Because I'll be honest with you, these brothers right here on stage with me and the brothers in the ISUPK, they got brotherhood like no other. Whether it be a simple phone call, if you need some help with some funds or some counsel from the men above you, this brotherhood, it's uncompared. So you want some real brotherhood, come into the ISUPK, get into class, put on that all black, just like I got on, and put your brick in, man. It's really some truth out here that you probably haven't been exposed to. So I'm paraphrasing, but the Most High says, study to be approved by him. So put that work in, come do some research, watch some of the classes, and get something out of this. That's all I got.
Go ahead, Ayar.
No, I just want to say, man, if you really want to know your true history, man, like the Aztec history, I mean, that's Tawab, that's cool and all of that, but our roots go deeper than that, man. And in the ISUPK, man, you're gonna learn, all of our history, our true history comes from the scriptures. So if you really want to know your true history, man, it goes right back to the scriptures, man. So the ISUPK, they're gonna teach you your true history, man. They're gonna teach you the laws. They're gonna teach you how to become a brother, man. They're gonna teach you how to become a righteous man. You know what I mean? So you want to learn how to become a real man, man. You have to tap into the ISUPK. That's all I got.
God, man. This is the ISUPK, and we're here every Monday with La Neta. You know what I'm saying? And we're always here to bring out the truth of what's going on with the Raza and let you see the point of view that you haven't seen. You know what I mean? You think you know history, you think you know your culture, you think you know where you're from, but you know what? History will take you way, way, way deeper than what you know. And let me tell you something. It's not new to you as a Hispanic, as a Mexican, as a Raza, Latinoamericano, whatever you want to call yourself. It's not new to you because you used to be Catholic and then you converted to Christianity because you thought the Catholic Church was wrong. And you yourself were like, nah, I can't be a Catholic. Now I'm a Christian. Now you got hundreds of thousands, probably millions of Mexicans who are now Christians because they don't believe in the Catholic Church. Well, you know what? It's time to take another step. And this time to get out of the Catholic Church and the Christian Church and come into the reality of who you really are. You know what? I know we speak a lot about our ancestors in Mexico, the Mexica and the Aztecs, and you know what? That's cool and all, but we go way deeper than that. We are a royal bloodline that come from a royal family known as the 12 tribes of Israel. We are the descendants of real kings. We are the chosen people. The Lord has chosen us above every nation that's on the face of the earth. According to the book of Deuteronomy, the Lord says that we, us, the 12 tribes, are more than any nation that's on the face of the earth, and that he has chosen us to be his special people. That's who we are. We're a special people. We're not just anybody. Carnal, you didn't build those pyramids because you Mexican. You built those pyramids because the Lord chose you to be a special people.
That's
you
right.
special because the Lord gave you that title. He made you special. If you're an artist, because you special to the Lord, he gave you talent. He's given blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians a special talent. And that talent is for we can serve him and show his glory. Man, who else can show more glory than Mexicans, blacks, and Native American Indians?
Damn right.
The way we dress, the way we draw, the way we speak, the festivals we have, our families. Man, that's honorable, man. You look at those families, man, people look at you and they're like, oh, man, your family is cool. Oh, man, your people are cool. Man, your people come from all over the world to see the pyramids in Mexico and to see our culture, because the Lord has chosen us to be special. If that ain't special, what is? White people ain't special. We're special. We're more special than everybody. We got to start to learn our history. We got to start to come back to who we really are and start to acknowledge our culture and move away from these places, move away from these borders that they put up. Man, this was all one continent and it was ours. They divided us and gave us these names. Now we call ourselves lands that aren't even ours. But the Bible speaks about there's going to be a time when we will remember who we are and we will call him by his name. And that time is now. Now we remember who we are. We are no longer Chicanos. We are no longer Mexican American. We are no longer Dodger fans or Californians or New Yorkers. We're no longer that. We Issachar. We the 12 tribes. Right. We God's special people. And now we know. And you got to come into this truth and give yourself the chance to understand who you are. Don't give us the chance, because the Bible tells us, I have chosen you. You have not chosen me. So the Lord has chosen me and my brother Natazyab and Ayar and Malakma and all the brothers of the ISUPK. Man, we ain't looking for this. The Lord chose us to do this. Right. So you should give yourself the opportunity to see if maybe you may be honored for the Lord to choose you to come and do this work. Because that's still in the book. You still got to see. You might not be the chosen people or the chosen one. You might not be royalty. You might just become a peasant like everybody else who decides not to do this. When you come into this truth, is because you enlist to become a king in the Lord's kingdom. When Yahushua comes back and starts giving away kingdoms, you might be one of those that get that kingdom. Or you just might be like everybody else. We're the 144,000. Everybody else is just the multitude. With that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is the ISUPK La Neta. Remember, every Monday, we're right here about 8:45. Tune in, share this program, like this program, comment on this program. But more important than anything, join into our program. We got a call-in number. I don't think we put it up today, but we got a call-in number. You could always call in, you know what I mean, and participate with us. Hey, a voice speaks louder than all that you know. Make yourself known. You know what I'm saying? We want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't forget, we celebrating the feast of Hanukkah. Is that correct? We celebrating the feast of Hanukkah. I know a lot of us got together Saturday. This feast continues. What is it, for a whole week? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, whole week, sir.
We celebrate. Yeah, we celebrate for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate with honor. The closing, I believe, is Saturday. Is the closing?
Right.
Saturday is the closing.
I believe so. Yeah.
God, whatever it is, tune in, find out, check it out. It's just coming off the top of my head, but bring your family to the ISUPK gathering for the Saturday for the closing of the Sabbath. Come on down, man. Join us wherever you may be at, whether you be in Chicago or up in Oregon or wherever you may be. Join us, man, whether it be online or in person. But don't forget to celebrate these days. The Lord has chosen these days to be celebrated. We got to honor the Lord by celebrating along with them. With that, this is Office Casa Yard 5000 out of California, ISUPK. You know what I'm saying? The water for joining us. Till next week, Shalom, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shad, Baruch-Atum.
Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shad, Baruch.
Shalom, Aki, the water for having this show too.
Khan, sir.
The water you out of one.
With that,
Shalom, Israel. Shalom, Israel. Cubale Raza. All right, Canal.
He's still live, I don't want.
Oh, shit. Everybody tune out.